Hey guys, time for my first review from the Crypt. I watched the very first episode of Tales from the Crypt earlier today. One of my favorites from the first season. There's only 6 episodes in the first season, but this is probably my second favorite. And the episode is titled The Man Who Was Death. It stars Bill Sadler in an awesome role. He did a great job. As a little bit of trivia, I had read that when he went in to audition for this particular role, they told him that he could have the job as long as he did exactly what he did in his audition. So apparently they were really impressed with what he did, and I can definitely see why, because as I said, he was awesome in this particular role. As a brief synopsis, it says, a shocking experience. When the death penalty is abolished, a penitentiary executioner turns freelance electrocutioner. But fate may pull a switch on this man who loves to throw the switch. Basically, Bill Sadler, is the executioner at a prison. He kind of enjoys his job a little too much. He started out as an electrician. He got a job at the prison as an electrician as well. Moved his way up, got promoted after a few years of doing that. Became the executioner. Got to be the guy that pulls that switch when anybody gets the electric chair. As I said, he seems to enjoy his job a little too much. He likes to look at the criminals directly in the eyes before pulling the switch. And he comments on how they all act like tough guys, but on the walk down to the chair, they all stop panicking and crying and begging for their lives and screaming that the governor is going to call so that they shouldn't be executed. It's a pretty important part in the episode. You do see it with the very first guy going to the chair. He just kind of breaks out into the state of panic and crying and begging for his life. But how can you blame the guy? And here's Bill Sadler, just looks the guy in the eyes, emotionless, and walks over and pulls a switch on him. But anyway, the electric chair gets abolished. The death penalty, completely gets abolished in the state. Earlier in the episode, Bill Sadler talks about how he prefers electricity because you can trust it. You can trust electricity. He doesn't like lethal injection and all that. He prefers the electric chair. But the whole death penalty is abolished in the state, so unfortunately he's left without a job. He thinks because he has seniority he should be able to stay at the prison, but the warden tells him they don't think it's safe for him to be there with with the prisoners knowing that he was the guy who was once the executioner, which does make sense. So he's let go. Basically what happens is he just can't let it go. He likes to have justice of these people he thinks is basically scum of the earth. There's one part where it shows a courtroom, and there's this guy who is guilty of murder, which you find out he is guilty. However, because of a clerical error on his arrest report, he's let free because of that error. But instead of being free, Bill Sadler decides to take matters into his own hands, and he goes and electrocutes the guy himself. He lights this. He basically sets up this wiring on this electric fence, and the guy goes to unlock the fence, and gets pretty fried. And this isn't the first time. This isn't the only time he does it, I should say. This is the first time he does it, but there's another case with this guy who wants to leave his wife. He has this mistress on the side, but his wife has everything in her name. So instead of just divorcing her, he decides to kill her first, so that way he can get everything and take off with his mistress. This guy, for whatever reason, gets off too. I believe there wasn't enough evidence or something like that. But of course, again, Bill Sadler just can't let it go and decides to go off and kill this guy and his mistress. So this continues on a little bit. He decides to just take these matters into his own hands, and he thinks he thinks he's accomplishing justice. He thinks he's being just in this decision, almost like Frailty. If you guys have seen the movie Frailty, slight aspects of that. It reminds me of it just a little bit, because he does think he's doing the right thing. He thinks these people don't deserve to live, and he thinks that they should be killed. So now this part is where I'm going to talk about the ending. So if you guys don't want to know any spoilers, now would be the time to mute. So continuing on to anybody else who is still listening to me. As for the ending, the twist in this one, so to speak, Tales from the Crypt has a lot of different twists. It's not so much as twist because I guess you kind of see it coming, but basically he gets caught trying to electrocute his third victim, I believe, and it's this girl this go-go dancer who murdered somebody, and he's attempting to electrocute her. It's not going as planned, and he ends up getting caught by the police, and they take him in to the prison, and the warden sits there and tells him that it's his lucky day and that the death penalty has been reestablished, and he's going to be the first one to get it. So the very last scene shows Bill Sadler basically making his way down to the electric chair. The guards are dragging him by his arms, and sure enough, he's screaming, crying, begging for his life, saying that the governor's going to call not to execute him, and that he's basically doing the same thing that he made fun of the other prisoners for doing at the beginning of the episode. So it's a pretty cool way to end it. You know, the very last image is of him fried. You know, they pull the switch on him and he's dead and gone. Same way that he's killed many other people over the years. So it was definitely a pretty cool ending. Definitely a memorable one. A really cool way to start out the series. As I said, my second favorite episode of the first season. So, you know, that's my little review for that. I did enjoy it. As I said, Bill Sellers was great in the role. Pretty cool storyline. It moves pretty quickly, as do most of these episodes. You know, being only 25 minutes runtime, they're like mini movies, but you know, you really gotta get to the good stuff right away. So it's pretty cool. Really enjoyed that one. As I said, this is my second favorite episode in season 1, and what I remember to be my first favorite, my very favorite episode in season 1, is the very next episode I will be reviewing, which is An All Through the House. Now, I know a lot of people know about this one. It's basically, you know, a Christmas-themed one. There's also a segment in the Tales from the Crypt movie based on the same, you know, same comic strip, the same story. So that will be my next review coming soon. I've seen that episode many times, but I will rewatch it again specifically so I can do a review right after. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be my first of many reviews from the Crypt. As I said, this is going to be a new series I do on my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you think if you've seen the episode, and I would definitely like to discuss this a bit more. Thanks for watching, guys.